Hi Sagittarius, welcome or welcome back to Heretical Tarot. Just clearing the space here. So we're talking about March, which is crazy to me. I'm always just so surprised how fast time seems to go. Like we're already talking about March? Crazy. I'll probably actually say that every month going forward. So I hope that February has treated you well, is treating you well. February was a pretty busy month for me. I ended up launching an Etsy store, which is super exciting and I'm very proud of it. I would love it if you would check it out. I'll link it below, of course. As always, there's no obligation to... I don't know if you can hear my dog drinking water. There's no obligation to buy anything, but of course, if you feel connected to something, you would like to purchase it, that would be great. But if you could, just fill the space with a ton of love so that other people will want to buy stuff. I would appreciate it. So let's talk about you. Like I said, we're talking about March. We do a 4-card spread. The first card is the current energy. To the left of that is any blocks. Underneath that is advice for clearing the block. And then the last position is the energy that you're heading into, like what's next. My dog is going nuts. I don't shuffle reversals into the deck, but if the cards come out in the reverse, we'll keep them that way. Interesting with this deck, this is the Tarot of the Abyss. And I actually have a few of these in my shop. So if you feel connected to them and would like to work with them yourself, I do have a couple for purchase. But so when I get a new deck, I'll just I handle it a lot. I'll just kind of keep it close to me and ask it random questions and do a ton of readings and just kind of all of that. Just to, get us synchronized and calibrated to each other's energy and stuff. And the first few times I picked up the deck and was shuffling it, and then cards were coming out. They were coming out in the reverse. So then I would flip it over and there would be all these reversals throughout. And I shuffle my decks the same way all the time. It's just like my OCD about that. So it was just so funny. And I ended up setting the cards in front of me and having this conversation with them. For me, I don't connect to, intentionally shuffling reversals into the deck. That's just a personal preference. But I will, of course, read them in the reverse if they fall out that way. And no joke, there hasn't been a single reverse that has been shuffled into the deck since then. So I just think that's so funny. And I'm glad that I can share that with you guys because I think if I was to share that with anybody who doesn't necessarily have an interest in tarot, they would be like, what the hell are you talking about? I mean, you might be saying that too, but at least you get it a little bit. So the cards do actually need to fall out of the deck. If they flip in the deck, we'll just flip them over and keep it moving. My intention is just for 1 card to come out at a time. If 2 come out together, we'll take 2, but any more than 2, we'll put it back in the deck and keep it moving because we just want the message to be super clear. So what is the current energy for Sagittarius for March 2022? What's the current energy for Sagittarius, March? 10 of Pentacles and the Chariot. So the 10 of Pentacles talks about stability, family. The Pentacles have to do with our money. It has to do with, resources and materials. It also has to do with our physical body. But when we get to the 10, that's when we, you know, are able to share what we have with either our family or our community, our friends. And in this depiction of the 10 of Pentacles, there's this hand here that is, you know, it looks a little aged. And we have this other hand that, you know, looks a little bit younger. So there could be a passing on of knowledge or wisdom, or there's just wisdom that you've gained in the situation. You know, we kind of have this family down here. There's a staircase, this tree here. There's this little house. You know, it's having an abundance of what you need so that you're able to kind of share that with those around you. And then we have the Chariot at the bottom of the deck. And the Chariot talks about, you know, kind of fast moving energy. But when we're talking about the Chariot, we're talking more so like, you know, the universe is kind of taking you where you need to be. We have the Awakening card behind that, which is the Judgment in the traditional tarot. And I believe the Judgment card came out for you guys in the mid-month for February. So in this depiction, you know, there's kind of this skin suit down here, and this figure is kind of, you know, like being birthed out of it, right? Like kind of shedding the skin and transforming into, you know, this figure with wings. And then we have the Five of Pentacles underneath that, which is just kind of like a change in your financial situation. The lesson that comes from the Five of Pentacles is to know and understand that it's temporary. The fives are kind of a transition. So, you know, it just kind of calls for maybe a little bit more budgeting, being a little bit more creative with your money. And then we have the Knight of Wands here, and then we'll kind of move on. But, you know, the Knight of Wands here is this, you know, kind of spark of creativity. It's fantasy almost, right? Like it, but it's this focus on play and joy and, you know, like just kind of what is it that you can kind of create into this world? What can you manifest into the actual 3D? Very cool. Interesting. I mean, we'll just kind of see. We'll just kind of see how this goes. You know, the Ten of Pentacles is a good place to be because, like I said, you know, it's your needs are at least being met on the 3D plane, as far as, you know, you have presumably you have enough money, you have enough, you know, enough of the resources that you need. You have enough time almost too. Even in your family unit, I mean, there could be some sort of contentment within your family unit. Like everybody's needs are met, right? And then just one more time, you know, I'm shuffling for the block here. So what is the block for Sagittarius in March? What's blocking Sagittarius? That could also be like some sort of inheritance. What is a block for Sagittarius? March 2022. If my hands would work. What is a block for Sagittarius? March. Oh, that's too many. What is a block for Sagittarius? The Sun. 10 of Swords. You may not be seeing the situation this way. Like everything that I just said, you may be like, no. That's not how I see it. We have the Sun in the blocked position. So this could be blocking your blessings. You know, there's this path here. You could be just kind of like actively or consciously deciding not to start on a particular path. Because, I mean, you could be, what's the word? That's been my struggle today, is finding words. It's like, it's there. You could be using the reason, or I'm going to say it, the excuse that your family or relationship is taking too much of your time or attention. Because, you know, the Sun card is, you know, I mean, the highest expression of joy, right? It's every single good feeling that you can feel. That's the Sun card. That's ultimate success. I mean, it's life, right? Like it's, you know, the Sun births life into everything, right? I mean, where would we be without the actual, like, literal sun? So with this being in the blocked position, again, you know, just kind of getting this feeling that you are just kind of actively not being on the path that you either want to be on or that's like showing itself to you. We have the 10 of Swords, and what's interesting and I love about this deck is that the author has included 2 alternative cards, and one of them being an alternative to the traditional 10 of Swords. Generally, the 10 of Swords is a figure laying on the ground with 10 swords in their back, right? It's kind of defeated. This depiction of the 10 of Swords talks about wisdom and knowledge. You know, the symbolism for an owl is wisdom. We have this older person over here that, you know, and they're the way that they're just kind of looking at each other, right? It's almost like game recognizes game, right? Because this person has had a lifetime of experiences, a lifetime of learning, right? So it's this invitation to use the knowledge that you have. Or, you know, since this is in the blocked position, this is, again, just kind of blocking that. Like maybe thinking that you don't have enough information, maybe thinking that you don't have enough of experience or knowledge about whatever this path is for you. But I am getting this feeling that it's like you're consciously aware of it, like you are actively avoiding it. Whether that's how you're framing it in your mind or not. And I just kind of like, I keep getting this image of like somebody, it's either like, you know, kind of, and I felt this when I, when I was shuffling. So, you know, like generally, well, every time before I start the video, I shuffle the deck a bunch of times and I just connect to the light beings and guides that I hope to work with. And I set up kind of protections around the reading and stuff like that. My little ritual beforehand. And immediately somebody came in, literally sat down and started eating popcorn. And I was like, oh boy, oh boy. And I'm just kind of getting that feeling again. Like they're just kind of looking at you and just like, you know, eating, you know, just kind of like looking at you from like the top of their eyes, you know, like just kind of giving you a side eye and eating popcorn. And then we have the 9 of Wands behind that. And, you know, this could be the reason why you're not getting on the path or not seeing it or not wanting to, because the 9 of Wands is a bit beat up, right? But the thing about the 9 of Wands is that they're still standing. There's persistence and resilience here. And the lesson or the invitation with the 9 of Wands is just to hold on, you know, like you're there. The 9s are also about completion. It's individual completion. He also has a sort of truth here. So, you know, there could be some truth that needs to be invited into the situation. And then we have the Tower card behind that. And the Tower card talks about intentional chaos, like, you know, the structures and the things that no longer serve our highest good are taken out of the situation. Towers are not that great to be in the middle of, you know, I mean, it's, like I said, it's kind of a chaotic energy. You know, and especially if it's just kind of like things are being taken out of your life and you're just like, what the hell? Like, what is going on here? You know, it's only the stuff that no longer serves a purpose in your life. But we, you know, we try to hold on to those things as much as we can sometimes because it's comfortable. It's what we know, right? And then here we have the Knight of Wands again. And, you know, right behind the Tower card, you know, this creative energy, right? Like birthing something into your like focusing your energy into a creative endeavor. Beautiful. What's the advice for clearing the block for Sagittarius? What's the advice for clearing the block? 5 of Pentacles, it's letting go. The Emperor, letting go of control. The Moon, Justice, 6 of Pentacles. Yeah, I mean, this is, you know, like letting go of the fear of that period where, you know, things would change for a little bit. You know, letting go of your comfort zone. You know, this has to, again, you know, with Pentacles, it has to do with money. It could have to do with our jobs. You know, it has to do with, you know, just kind of the resources that you have available, the time. Again, you know, your physical health. But with this being in the blocked position, You know, like I was saying before about recognizing that this period is temporary and it is a transitionary period to get from A to B, right? But this to me is saying that there something has to give somewhere, right? And with the Emperor here, the Emperor is the divine masculine. So it's the energy of the masculine, right? Like initiating, the doing, and, you know, kind of the labor and authority, and, right, like putting your back into it, you know. He's a little bit about control, though. That's why I was saying releasing control. We have the Moon card behind here. So it's, you know, almost like releasing control and believing in the unknown. You know, the Moon talks about our subconscious. It talks about the things that are unseen. So this is something, you know, this hasn't been brought to your awareness yet. This is, you know, like the universe still kind of conspiring for you. This is you conspiring with the universe, right? Like there's two people here. So, or two figures, I should say, right? So this is, there's this, all this, kind of waiting for you on the other side. And maybe that's kind of part of the fear, you know, who knows, like, you know, if this fear of the unknown, or, you know, kind of losing control. This could be an Aries, I believe. Yeah. This is Cancer or Pisces. We have the Justice card. So, you know, on the other side of being this, you know, kind of authoritarian, you know, like just being, having a, like even just too hard of a grip on things right now, you know, like between this space between that is a little bit hidden from you right now. There's justice on the other side. So the scales balancing. Six of Pentacles. You know, this talks about having enough money. So now we have a progression here, right? So we go from, I'm just going to lay these out really quick. So we go from being in this energy, maybe being a bit fearful, to, you know, like this Emperor energy where you're just trying to have a little bit of control, and maybe just so you don't kind of fall into this lack kind of energy. But then there's this period of co-collaboration and, you know, the unknown and all of that. I always see the Moon card as a good thing. I don't, it's like the Wheel of Fortune. It's always good. And then there's this balance that happens, the scales balancing. And then on the other side of that is the Six of Pentacles. You have enough to share with other people. This is, you know, kind of charity. This is reciprocity, right? Like what you're able to give because you have enough. This could also be that, you know, because we have the Queen of Pentacles behind that, and then the Four of Wands, Nine of Pentacles. Yeah. So, this could be because whatever this kind of transition is for you, you start making money off of it, even if it's a little bit slow, right? This could be even like an advance or like a bonus. It could be a loan. You know, somebody could loan you money, or or something along those lines. We have the Queen of Pentacles, which is, you know, she's opening this chest here to take the pentacle out. So, you know, the Queen has, again, you know, we're back to having your needs met. You have enough money, resources, materials, your health, right? Like whatever it is, right? We're talking 3D world here. That creates stability, union, harmony, right? The Four of Wands talks about having a firm foundation. And then the Nine of Cups is individual success, independence. But you did it, right? Like it's your success. I could keep going and this would end up being 3 hours. It's too many. What's next for Sagittarius? What's coming up? What's next for Sagittarius? What is next for Sagittarius? What's next? These two. We have Three of Swords, Five of Wands, and then Strength. There's that Ten of Swords again, the Emperor. So this is the other depiction, or the other alternative card. Again, talking about knowledge and learning. In the traditional Three of Swords, the Three of Swords is piercing a heart, right? So it talks about disappointment and rejection, heartbreak, you know, but it's our mind. You know, the swords talk about how we think about things, our intellect, our perception on stuff. So it is very much about how those energies kind of live in our mind. But this depiction of the Three of Swords, the swords are in this book here. So there could be something to do with a book. You know, there could be something that you read that kind of has a light bulb moment for you. This could be just kind of deciding to learn about the thing that maybe you've been putting off. But, you know, the letters and the words are coming off this page and kind of flying into their head, right? So it's the gaining of knowledge. And then the Five of Wands, the fives, again, talk about, you know, kind of conflict. It's a transitionary period. The Five of Wands talks a little bit about, you know, like kind of competition, because the wands deal with communication and action. So this is maybe even having to push yourself to make this a priority. I also think that it's so cool that all of these cards at the top are very kind of light, right? Like there's a lot of white in them. And then the cards, I know that this is just the bottom of the deck, but I just find it interesting still that the cards on the bottom, or just, you know, like on this row, are darker. I don't know. I don't know if that has a significance or not, but I just think it's cool. So, you know, this, again, like it could just be making the time for the thing. And it could be a little bit of, you know, just kind of fighting yourself on it. Like I said, just making it a priority until it becomes a habit or until you get into the groove of the thing. This might even just be kind of fighting yourself to almost like believe that like you deserve it, or that the timing is right, or that you do have enough information. Because so we have the Strength card, and the Strength talks about just the inner strength, right? Like, again, just kind of perseverance, resilience, you know, the whole God give me strength thing, right? Like, this is internalized. And then here we go with the Ten of Swords again. But, you know, now we're kind of talking about the outcome. So, you know, you have the information that you need, right? You have the experience. You have the wisdom. Now it's a matter of putting it into focus. Now it's kind of time to get into this Emperor energy and, you know, kind of like buckle down and do it. Be an authority on the subject, right? The Seven of Wands talks about kind of having to defend yourself a bit. I always see these wands down here as like other people's opinions or other people's, this is also just, you know, stuff that's trying to kind of take your attention away from what you're doing. And then being up here and just kind of having to fight all that stuff off. And then we have the Awakening card again. So, you know, this transformation happening. Right? And this Seven of Wands could just be kind of like a little omen about, you know, if things do get a little bit more difficult, or if this is your own opinions and old kind of stories and ego, you know, kind of fear shit. This could just be, you know, like a message saying that, you know, there is this transformation on the other side. And also, you know, just kind of going from the Ten of Pentacles to this depiction of the Three of Swords here. This could be even a message about, if it is possible, of course, you know, I understand if it's not possible in every situation, but it's, you know, kind of taking the focus off of what everybody else needs around you and focus on yourself and focus on what you want to do and where you're going, right? Which also takes a bit of strength, because people get used to certain ways of being, right? You know, people get used to you kind of being there to do everything. And if that changes, you know, that's kind of when our little inner strength thing comes into play. And it's like, I know this is changing, but and apparently my dog agrees. So, from Ziggy and I, thank you so much for being on this journey with me. I'm so happy to be on it with you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.